So Dheeraj, maybe start now. It's okay. So Nancy, if you want to share it on your page, this is the moment. Okay. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a very warm welcome to all the wonderful men and women who have joined us today in this month's Glow webinar. I'm Purnima, your host for today, and we're going to talk about heart-based learning outcomes for the modern youth. Nancy Sumari from Tanzania has joined us today. GLOW is an acronym for Genuine Loving Outstanding Women, and it's organized by the Heartfulness Institute, which teaches heart-based meditation free of cost to people all over the world. GLOW is specially designed by women. The topics and themes which we choose for discussion benefit women and men in their personal professional lives, because this is the only webinar in the market which is having meditation at its core. So today on the webinar, we have Nancy Sumari, a former Miss Tanzania and Miss World Africa. She's a published author, businesswoman, social entrepreneur. In 2017, Africa Youth Awards named her as the one among 100 most influential young Africans. Nancy is a business graduate from the University of Dar es Salaam and the managing director of Bongo 5 Media Group, a new media entity focused on digital content creation. She is the founder and executive director of the Negasti Sumari Foundation and the Jenga Hub that runs programs that teach kids from marginalized backgrounds on how to do software coding. She is committed to improving the state of her community by working towards digital literacy for all. Nancy's foundation's initiatives have transformed learning outcomes among youth and children through digital literacy programs and applying design thinking methodologies to create value. In this webinar, she is going to inspire all of us to break out from mediocrity to greatness. So let us welcome Nancy Sumari today. Hello, Nancy. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This is a great honor. Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you. So let's begin the webinar and let us start with yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Nancy.
So I'm a third born of 5 children off of my parents, who one is a farmer and the other one is she runs her own hotel business. So she's into catering. And I had a very interesting childhood. I grew up on a farm, which, as you can imagine, is filled with adventure and mischief and just joy and love. And my parents were very keen for us to get a good education, but for us to also grow up as a close-knit, loving type family. So I have very fond memories of my childhood. And then beyond that, I went to school in Kenya, after which I graduated high school and came back to Tanzania and did my bachelor's degree here for business. And I hope to still continue with my studies at some point soon, hopefully. I'm married with a daughter. She's wonderful. She's actually having her birthday weekend this weekend. So it's very exciting for us here in Dar. So I feel yeah, I feel like I've had a bit of a sort of interesting journey so far, and I'm very thankful for it. But I often reflect and feel that it's almost like an out of body experience where I couldn't imagine having the love that I have right now and the work that I do and how blessed I am to be able to offer um, opportunities to people how, just as the same that I have been offered opportunities by people throughout my life has been something that I'm very thankful for. So yeah, that's in a nutshell of a bit of who I am.
Thank you. You did mention about a little bit about how your journey has been. Um, but how has it been from being a beauty queen and being part of the beauty pageants to becoming a philanthropist, working for the education of children? Can you tell us a little bit about that journey too?
Yes, I think the journey through the beauty pageant was almost by chance. I think it was an opportunity that just sort of happened to me almost. I suppose it was always meant to be a part of my journey, but it was a very big surprise for me because I had just finished high school. I was hoping to to pursue my university education at that point in time, and I just by chance at a local restaurant here in Dar es Salaam met a young lady who felt that I should be a part of the competition, and it was a great opportunity. And I mean, I felt like it was an opportunity. And when an opportunity comes knocking, I've always been one to sort of take advantage of it. And so I did, but beyond the beauty pageant, I mean, it happened and it was very great, and it left a big mark on my life. But beyond that, I've always had the need, or I always felt that it was sort of my purpose to give back as much as I have been given. I think there are a lot of opportunities that um, I might not have been the best for, or maybe the most prepared for, but people held my hand. People helped me, and so there are a lot of people who were there for me through my journey to help me to be the best of who I could be and take advantage of the potential that they saw in me. So, um, me giving back and the work that I do now beyond the beauty pageant has sort of comes naturally because it's the same way that people have been there for me, that I feel I should be able to be there for someone else and be there meaningfully. And so that's why our work in providing or widening the educational ecosystem in Tanzania is very important to me because education will unlock all the potential in children and the young people. And so this is something that we're continuing to work very hard at.
Thank you so much. So you are being part of these educational programs. It has shaped your life, as I can see. Can you tell us a little bit about these initiatives, which is transforming children, which is transforming the face of education in Tanzania as we see it today?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if this is something that will go through where you are, but the education system here in Tanzania has a lot of challenges. It's everything from an outdated curriculum to not well enough trained teachers, to just the infrastructure overall. And so we thought to probably do something that would be more meaningful and more long term, but also more future ready. And so we started programs that will empower and equip children with the skills and knowledge that are necessary in the ever more transforming technological world. And so our programs are focused primarily on giving the children these very important skills as we continue to move on to the fourth industrial revolution, which then means that even though they go to school and go through a curriculum that is perhaps outdated, they're able to gain skills through our hub and its programs to be able to allow them to be a lot more competitive. They are able to take advantage of opportunities in the technological industry and sector, and just to be able to then come up with ideas of value to serve them and to serve their communities. So I think, in a nutshell, that's a bit of what we do.
Thank you, Nancy. So, uh, this important work which you're doing, it's really commendable. But I would like to ask you, this thing which you're doing, the availability of information and knowledge is always easy. I wouldn't say easy in that way. I would say there are a lot of people working for it. The world is getting, a lot of people are coming forward to change the face of world, and uh, dissemination of information is getting easier these days. But however, yours has been a really remarkable journey. The work which you do has been really remarkable. And how have you been able to make this difference, for children? What do you think is the key factor which can help in choice versus decision making, and sensibility versus wisdom? What is it that differentiates these children specifically in all that? What is your take on that?
I think our kids, well, we try to have a more holistic approach. It's not just about technology, because that's not enough. It's about also character building. It's about building self as well, and training children through values such as being respectful, being honorable, loving, caring, being of service, knowing who they are, and then reflecting that to the world. So I think what sets us apart a lot of times is the fact that we pay extra attention to character building and them being a lot more holistic in that sense and in our approach. So I feel that that's quite important, especially in today's world, to be able to also build self and acknowledge oneself and the self in another person. We have this saying here, and it emanates from South Africa, but it's also applied a lot where we are, the spirit of Ubuntu, which sort of speaks to the fact that you are able to see yourself in someone else, or rather you are able to see someone else and empathize and acknowledge them, the self and the spirit, and just being equal in that sense. And I think we're moving ever more so into machines and artificial intelligence and robots, but it's also really important to focus back on ourselves. And I think more so with the children and the young people who are going to really be a force in the next generation. I think it's very important to sort of instill these values in them.
Thank you, Nancy. That was really interesting, and empathy is something we speak about so often in today's world, and it's not so easy to practice. It's in itself a very difficult subject to talk about, and if we are able to inculcate character and inculcate empathy, feeling of empathy in children as part of the learning process, as part of the educational process, I think it's really a wonderful thing to do. When speaking about character building, how do you think, what is the role of the heart in transforming the child's growing process, in transforming the learning the educational initiatives?
Well, to be honest, Panima, I think it starts with the heart. I think everything emanates from the heart and the soul too. I think the heart really plays a central and a key role in learning overall, in sort of seeing one's place in the world and what your world means. I think that the heart sort of is a window into and a reflection, so to speak, of the world and what the world is to you and what you're putting out to the world. And so I feel that a lot of times, many people are not able to be intentional enough with when it comes to matters of the heart and learning or feeding the heart in that sense. So I feel it plays a central and crucial role in learning and in self and in a human. So it definitely requires us to sort of break down those walls and be able to approach learning and each other more from the heart. I think it would change the world, to be honest. I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for that very interesting answer. Yeah, the world can be changed indeed if the role of the heart is understood, it's used appropriately. Uh, so, how do you think children can be motivated enough? They can be encouraged to use their heart as often. How can it? How can we help them to learn this art of using the heart? What is your view on that?
I think that I think we can definitely practice a lot more. I think children or young people look at the older generation as mirrors, and they're sort of oracles, so to speak. And I think the more they see it around them, applied, working, testimonials from people who do it constantly and consistently, I think that is one way to do it for sure. It's almost like parenting and how that sort of pans out. When a child is growing up, the first people that they look up to is the immediate parent or the immediate family member surrounding them. And if, for instance, this type of habits begin in the home, I feel that that could be the game changer right there. I think the application of or the importance of the role of the heart being seen from the household or from the most important institution, which is the institution of family, and then moving on beyond that to the schools, to educate, to all education institutions on all levels, to governments, to how we lead our people. I feel like it really could be sort of a multiplying butterfly effect, but I feel that it really does begin in the home. I feel that that is the most powerful place where values are instilled, where behavior is taught, where love is shared. And of course, it then multiplies to all other areas of our lives, but it begins in the home. And I feel that we can all have a role to play when it comes to leading with the heart or teaching from the heart or learning and feeding our hearts around our children and our young people. I think it can begin there and then take hold. For now, perhaps in all corners of people who believe in it, can begin right there, begin small, and then see it multiply and take effect within your circle of influence.
Thank you, Nancy. That's indeed, it's wonderful that you mentioned this, that the role, to inculcate a child to follow his heart, to follow her heart. This begins at home. I totally, agree with what you say. But when you look at the society today, we are becoming more and more dispersed. People are, single parenting is on the rise. Parents are not together in many families, and even if they are together, they have very less time with their children because both the parents are either working, or the role of the grandparents are becoming less these days in the lives of the children. We don't have a family which has like uncles and aunties who stay together. The joint family system has broken down, it's vanished completely. We are moving towards just not nuclear families, we are moving towards single parenting. So, when such is the case, and when we speak about the family, the home being the central ground where the role of the heart is nurtured, children spend more time with in daycares, children spend more time in schools with other people are primary caregivers. So how can teachers or schools impart this, or where do you see this happening when it cannot holistically happen at home?
I mean, I feel that we can take advantage of a lot of these platforms that children and young people are accessing. I feel like platforms such as these ones are very key. I feel that reaching out to teachers is also important, like you mentioned, because a teacher can adopt just maybe the first or the last 5 minutes of a class to just simply share whatever is going on in the heart, or hear from other people's hearts, or also to be able to reach out to a lot of these religious institutions as well, where we have people still, for instance, here, we have a lot of families going to mosque, a lot of families going to church, a lot of families going to temple. I feel like they all preach about the heart, but perhaps to just break down the silos and have a more relatable approach is also important. And again, just styles and a manner in which children and young people might find a lot more relevant today. In many ways, it needs to be dynamic. It needs to be true to our time. It needs to be reflective. It could be packaged in something that where young people are always on. For instance, even Instagram or Facebook or these social platforms that have a lot of traffic of young people, and just package it in a way that they will find interesting, and then onboard it, and before you know it, will be a trend, and it's cool, and it's being applied, and then it sticks, and it's on and on from there.
Thank you, Nancy. I'm really interested in what you said about it needs to be relevant today. All our religions all over the world preach about the role of heart, preach about love for the humanity, and but it has to be relevant. It has to be packaged in such a way that it's relevant, it's appealing, it's just not relevant and appealing. It's practical. It has to be practical in helping us in our everyday lives. So I would like to share that heartfulness in